Sorry about the delay, folks, on the live stream. We had a little technical issue going on. You've only missed the boys' prelims for the 110 hurdles, so our apologies to anyone who tuned in to see that. But right now, we're going on to the girls' 110 hurdles. As a reminder, this meet is brought to you by Hoka and Marathon Sports and the MIAA. Big thanks to those three sponsors for making this meet possible. And a reminder, all things for high school track and field cross country, tune into Bay State Running both on Instagram and live streams on YouTube to see everything going on, to be able to also screen record for your film for people who are trying to go to college to run. I'm Adam Canario as your host today and MC for the meet through the live stream, but a beautiful day here in North Andover at Merrimack College. It is a blistering 80 degrees out, so it is a little bit warm on the track for our distance athletes later tonight. But right now, I think it's pretty good conditions for our hurdlers. No wind, nothing really focused on that headwind or tailwind, so it's going to be nice neutral conditions on the track itself. But we have our Heat 1 athletes down in their blocks about to go off for our first heat of the 100-meter hurdles. And they're off. We have our first heat underway. And our winner in lane number 4, and that's going to be Ashley Sheldon from Andover. What a run by all athletes on the track. Just as a reminder, our top 8 athletes who finished today will move on to the finals, which are based on time to have a chance to earn that title of Division I state champion for the hurdles. With them getting ready for Heat 2, let's focus on some of the athletes in this next heat. In Lane 1, we have Ella Terranova from Framingham. Lane 2, Drea DeFreitas from Lowell. Lane 3, Adri Waldinger from Andover. Lane 4, Amanda Magan from Lexington. Lane 5, Brooklyn Huggins from Brookline. Lane 6, Nikita Palestia from Andover. And Lane 7, Julianne Montron from Brookline. But before, well, let's see how this next heat's gonna go. Our Heat 2 athletes are getting down in the blocks to start. And they're off. Have an early lead right now going on through the next few hurdles. We'll see if Lexington's able to snatch up on that quick straightaway. It doesn't look like they are able to. That looks like that was going to be Brooklyn Huggins from Brookline taking the win. So heat number 3 is now on the track. We have in lane 1, Maggie Spring from Framingham. Lane 2 is Lillian Haddock from Weymouth. Lane 3 is Aylin Adogan from Westford Academy. Lane 4 is Kurgan George from Newton North. Lane 5 is Anna Maria Mubuyu from Lowell. Lane 6 is Shayna Carez from Acton Boxborough. And lane 7 is Caitlin Robinson from Westford Academy. And those will be our 7 athletes for this third heat. But we'll jump back since we weren't on live for the boys 110 hurdles. So far, based on the final results qualifying for the finals for boys, we have the 8 athletes. We have Christopher Osselman-Chai from Acton Boxborough, Jaden Bai from Lexington, Kai Yin from Lowell, Michael Greffin from Lexington, Maxwell Crawford from Attleboro, Brandon Riley from Weymouth, Patrick Alardi from Andover, and Jaden Francois from North Quincy. Those will be our 8 athletes qualifying for our boys final later on. But back onto the track is our race for our girls Heat 3. And pulling away with a win from, I believe what that's going to be, Newton North. Was that Newton North? It was hard to tell from the angle here. That was Newton North. Kira George pulling away with that win for the third heat. But let's focus a little bit on our athletes for this final and last heat of today's prelims. We have Leah Goodine, my apologies, from Weymouth, Audrey Smagula from Westford Academy, Ella Chenaria from Franklin, Sarah Dumas from Franklin, Claire Huck from Wachusett, Georgia Murray from Braintree, and Katie Walpole from Westford Academy. And they're off. Right now, Lane 4 has a quick lead, not far behind from her teammate in Lane 3. And with that, Sarah Dumas wins that final heat from Franklin. With not far from behind is her own teammate, Ella. And that will wrap up our prelims for our girls' 100 hurdles. Great job by all athletes who qualified for today's meet as well. Even though some will not make it on to the finals, it's still a great day for hopefully some PRs across the board. Moving on to our next event is going to be the boys 100 meter prelim dash, which will have 4 heats of as well for this race. We'll wait for the hurdles to get clear off the track, and I'll go a little bit more into this next heat of athletes. For lane 1, we have Aiden Ramirez from Attleboro. Lane 2, Jason DeSouza from Andover. Lane 3 is Joshua Kawaki from Methuen. Lane 4 is Evan Imasogi from Lowell. Lane 5 is Chris McDonough from St. John's Prep. Lane 6 is Eling Ikui from Methuen. Lane 7 is Matt Anderson from Shrewsbury. And Lane 8 is Arthur Nisubuga from Waltham. My apologies again if I butchered any names. And as a reminder, this is day 2 of the Division 1 MIAA State Championship track meet. So if you're looking for any other events that we aren't doing today, they're going to be on Thursday's live stream, which we have in our YouTube channel, baystaterunning.com. Those events from that first day will include both the 200 for boys and girls, 800 for boys and 2 mile from boys and girls, and then also I believe it was the 800 for boys and girls, which we had some unbelievable competition from the first day. But today will be the day to title which team will take away that Division 1 state championship, as well as individual athletes earning that title of state champion. Again, this will only be the prelims for the 100 meter dash. We'll see the dash final be happening later on tonight, but want to focus a little bit on some of the times that people can go for. Right now, for the state of Massachusetts, the number 1 time is 10 seconds, 0.62 milliseconds, possibly something we could see broken here today, with New North own Everton Muir holding that top spot. Aside from that, There's not much really going on for athletes making a stand for that top place. I think there's definitely some competition for him to get that first #1 spot as well. But we'll have to see in the finals later tonight if that 10.62 will be broken or we'll have someone tie him for that #1 spot in the state. But we have Heat 1 now down in their blocks. And they're off. Heat 1 underway, heading down the straightaway. Unofficially, that looks like that's going to be Chris McDonough from St. John's Prep taking the win there for this first heat of the 100-meter dash. Not too far behind where the rest of the field right behind him, chasing him. But let's focus a little bit on the next heat coming up on the track and going over who we have. In lane 1 is Stefan Reed from Franklin. Lane 2, Brendan Burke from St. John's Prep. Lane 3, Jacon Bruce Sanders from Ridge and Ladden. Lane 4, Leonid Burklack from Acton Boxborough. Lane 5 is Demetrius Sherion from Taunton. Lane 6 is Max Davis from St. John's. Lane 7 is Paul Deton Campbell from Ridge and Ladden. And Lane 8 is Aaron Radaki from St. John's Prep. And we have our finalists for our qualifiers to make it to the finals for the girls' 100-meter hurdles. So far qualified is Sarah Dumas from Franklin, Kieran George from Newton North, Ashley Sheldon of Andover, Brooklyn Huggins from Brookline, Ella Chandaria from Franklin, Anna Marie Mubuyu from Lowell, Amandine Megan from Lexington, and Brittany Orgrigor from Lowell. Those will be our 8 qualifiers for our finals. But going off for our boys 100 that just finished, that was lane 4, I want to say, who took that win for that heat. That looked to be Leonid Burklack from Acton Boxborough who won that heat. And again, same as our hurdles. Top 8 events based on time to the finals today. So even if they put everything on the track for now, they aren't done yet. But let's focus a little bit on Heat 3 of who we have on the track. We have Jason Story from Westford Academy in lane 1. We have Tristan Wu from Acton Boxborough in lane 2. Emmanuel Mahoney from St. John's in lane 3. Darwin Jimenez from Methuen in lane 4. Jake Whedon from Lexington in lane 5. Samuel Akai Yensu from Springfield Central in lane 6, and Jordan Wilson from Xavier and Brothers in lane 7. Overall, Darwin Jimenez has the fastest seed time of 10.84 for this third heat of the 100-meter dash, which looks to be our second fastest seed time of the day, with our fastest seed in the next heat afterwards. But heat 3 is off. It's pretty close, but it looks like that's Darwin Jimenez from Methuen pulling away for the finish, which it is. Unofficially high 10s, low 11s for that time, which we'll probably see that in our finals later on today. But let's go a little bit over our final and 4th heat for the boys prelim in 100 meters dash. In lane 1, we have Chidube Mukama, sorry about that pronunciation, from Boston College High. Had a little of a seizure there. Will Trunser from Newton South in lane 2. Mario Francosia Johnson from Braintree in lane 3. Everton Muir from Newton North in lane 4, again, who is our current #1 time in the state. We have Kevin Ayala from New Bedford in lane 6. Donald Harvey in lane 5 from Newton North, my bad for skipping over him, and then Kevin Shan in Andover in lane 7. This will probably be one of our faster heats of the day, with Everton from Newton North with a seed time of 10.62, but majority of our seeds ranging anywhere from 11 flat down to 11.4.
So the bubble time right now is 11:06.
Ooh.
And Darwin Jimenez in that last heat ran a 10.71 for the fastest time so far in the prelims.
Jeez, that was a quick. He did have that lead ahead of everyone else. But heat 4 is off today. And without a doubt, Everton Muir from Newton North taking that unofficially and looked to be close to that high 10s as well as we saw in heat 3. But that will wrap up our boys' 100-meter prelims today. Focusing now, we'll head over towards the girls' 100 now. As a reminder, top 8 advance based on time to the finals. But let's focus now on to the girls' first heat for the 100-meter dash. In lane 1, we have Annalise Noguria from Lowell in lane 1, Amara Ukumadu from Brookline in lane 2, Aubrey Deardor from Lexington in lane 3, Shakira Cadet from Durfee in lane 4, JJ Conte from Andover in lane 5, Atayil Bailey from Springfield Central in lane 6, Gianna Spiro from Haverhill in lane 7, and Isabel Patino from Lowell in lane 8.
Like the two girls in 4 and 5, Shakira and JJ, are significantly faster than the rest of this heat, so look for those two to battle it out.
No, yeah. But looking right now, we're going to have a pull away in this first heat. I want to say that was JJ Conte from Andover taking that win for the first heat.
Yeah, it looked like Cadet didn't get a great start there, so she was a little bit in the back for the first 30 or 40 meters and pushed her way back up into second, but couldn't make up the deficit from the start.
Yeah, which is impressive to make up a comeback in a short race like the 100-meter dash as well.
Yeah, it just shows her top speed.
I do want to focus back onto the boys' 100-meter where the official times came in from the prelims, where Darwin Jimenez from Methuen still holds that number 1 spot with that 10.71, with Everton Muir from Newton North running just a 10.79 for that second spot in that finals, which is still very impressive to see. But we'll probably see a quicker time from both of those two athletes later on in the finals, where Everton's going to battle to try to hold that number 1 time in the state, but I think Darwin might have a good chance of taking that title. But Heat 2 is off for the girls' 100-meter dash.
Looks like Naya Santana out in front from Wachusett.
Not far behind was her own teammate, Claire Hawk, in lane 5, but taking that second was Noah Helmbrecht from Lexington in lane 3.
All right, Heat 3, we have Isabella Fiore of Methuen, Sophia Barboza Lind of Acton Boxborough, Anya Pyro of Shrewsbury, Abby Damaris of Framingham, Grace Inacio of Taunton, Victoria Samuel of Lynn English, Sawyer Galvin of Newton North, and Brugger Sags of Lexington. Got three girls under 13 in this heat.
I was looking at that 12.4 for Abby Damaris from Framingham at a seed time.
I believe that's the second fastest time coming into today.
I believe that is correct.
Yeah, she got out pretty well there.
No, yeah.
Takes that one, no problem. But as this is qualification via time, there is no automatic qualification for winning your heat, so you still have to run a top 8 time regardless of whether you win your heat or not. Sometimes you do winner of each heat plus the next however many fastest to fill up the 8 lanes, which means as long as you win your heat, you can kind of cruise the last 10-15 meters if you've got a decent lead. But you want to be a little bit careful with that today just because it is based solely off of time for the final.
Yeah, to focus a little bit on the results we have in so far. With you mentioning earlier that the bubble time was 13.16, we do have a few people quite under that time so far today. The best was JJ Conte from Andover with a 12.39, taking away that lead for that first #1 spot. But we'll have to see in this final heat if anyone can jump into those few gap spots left.
Yeah, she's got a full 3/10 over second place.
Yeah. But I think this heat in #4, you'll see some people definitely either get close to that time, beat that time, or jump in and take those spots that are still remaining.
Yeah, heat 4, we have another 3 girls seated under 13. Well, it looks like we're missing lane 5 there. So this will be Lauren Quarm leading Ellie Jolly.
And with that, that finishes up our prelims for the 100-meter dash for girls. We'll wait for a little bit to see what girls actually qualified based on live results coming in, which can all be found at athletic.net under the live category. Just search for the MIAA Division 1 track meet and you'll be able to find all the live results from both the track and the field. I do want to mention that the the best #1 time in the state is held by Abigail Scott from Mansfield at 11.9, which is very impressive of a time at the high school level.
Wow.
I think we'll definitely see some people coming close to that today. I don't know if we'll see it being broken.
What division is that, do you know?
That was Mansfield. I believe that will be Division either 2 or 3. But she ran that time at her championship meet this past outdoor season. She did a 12.95 in the prelims and then ran an 11.9 in the finals, a full second faster. And that's a whopping PR for her. Her previous PR was only 12.31, which was
wow,
run at
that's
the
huge,
Twilight
yeah.
Invitational in Weston this past May.
Yeah, so it shows, we can have a lot faster times in finals. Just because obviously that's where it all counts and people are going full 100%. So next up on the track in a little bit, we have the mile. And this is a full mile, correct?
Correct, full mile. I know some states do the 1500 versus the mile, but Massachusetts does the full.
Yeah, I know. I was at the New Hampshire State Championships this week, and they do the 1600 instead of the full mile.
Focus a little bit on the best times in the state so far to kind of give a coverage of what these athletes have to go for. Earlier this spring, we ran the BSR Elite Mile where we saw some of the top athletes across New England be invited to run for an Scholastic Elite Mile, which it looks like pretty much a majority of our top 7 in the state ran at our BSR Mile to go those top 7. Fastest right now is Nathan Lopez at the 4:08, who I believe is running today in the mile as well, after running the 2 mile on Thursday.
Yeah, he's the #1 seed coming in. So he's seated at 4:16 just because that time from the Elite Scholastic Mile does not count towards state qualification.
He did run that 4:08 at the elite mile, which is very impressive nonetheless. But we have our first heat of the mile getting on the track. Just to focus a little bit on who we have in the mile for this first heat, we have Ben Kaysen from Brookline with number 1 on the leg. We have Jack Burns for number 2, number 3, Jalen Arango, lane 4, Anthony Cronin, lane 5, Daniel Bornstein, number 6, Kyle Vernon, number 7, Sam Burgess, number 8, Liam Sakani, and then number 9, Will Pencheninsky. That's one name I was surprised to see a little bit lower in the mile was Sam Burgess. He has focused a bit more on the 2 mile this year, not as much on the mile, but I think he can still do some pretty good moves here to get a decent time.
They're sticking pretty tight together so far through the 200.
Yeah, definitely I think the weather conditions today are going to play a big part in this race. We're still sitting around that low 80 mark temperature-wise and definitely being on that track.
Yeah, there's not a single cloud in the sky to give you some shade, so it's pretty hot down there on the track.
Yeah, and the flags as well, just hanging dead center. A small breeze.
Not much in terms of wind.
Going through the first 400 of the race, that was, I think, was that Sam Burgess in front? Looks like it was. But yeah, like I said, the flags are not moving whatsoever. The wind is nowhere, so they don't have to worry about any kind of tailwind or headwind advantage coming down the straightaways, but it's going to be really just pure athletic talent on the track.
I think that first split was around a 66, 67. So a little bit fast based on some of their seed times, but definitely achievable if they have a good day.
Yeah, we are seeing a little bit of a gap form from our top 2 runners with the rest of the pack. Nothing crazy, just a couple strides, but they are pulling away nonetheless. Yeah, it's going to be Sam Burgess in first right now. And then that's going to be Ben Kaysen right behind him in second place. And then third, Anthony Cronin, not far behind with the rest of the pack. But through the 8, it's going to be about a 2:11, 2:12.
Yeah, so they're still on pace for a real good time here.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sam Burgess and Ben Kaysen are both athletes that could have been in that faster heat for heat 2, but we can only do so many athletes in one heat. But at least they have each other kind of work off and bump off. Hopefully get a good time. But we are seeing a little bit of a gap now form between our 2 leaders.
Burgess is putting about 5 meters on Kaysen. Not a ton. He's still in contact, but definitely trying to pull away.
A little check behind the left shoulder there, which can sometimes be deadly when you're running a track race. But still the same 1-2 as of through the 800. A little bit of change in the backpack with now Jarlin Arango from Lowell in third, but it's still anyone's game for that third place spot.
3:15, 3:16 through the 12. So yeah, they're still holding right on pace. They're running very, very even splits here. Or at least Burgess is out front. Yeah. He's got a bit more of a gap now going into the final lap. But the battle for the rest of the scoring places is going to be pretty interesting. We got a nice group of 4 there, and 2 more trailing not too far behind them.
I mean, since probably that final bell lap, that 15-meter lead has been held by Sam, which I think going down the straightaway, I'm not sure if we're going to have Ben Kaysen be able to catch up. He is putting everything out on that track, but I think for this first heat, we're going to see
this is going to be a great time. We're about a 4:22 unofficially.
Yeah. and then 425, 426 for that second place. But overall, great field across the board. 432, and our last athlete coming up on the track now.
Yeah, I think most of the boys in that race probably beat their seed times coming in. Especially Burgess.
Yeah, but this is going to be the heat I'm going to want to watch. This is one that has a lot of talent from the state here right now. You want to go a little bit over of who we have in the second heat?
All right, so seated first, we have Nathan Lopez. Behind him, Jacob Bronstein, Brendan Wilder, Christopher Larnard, Paul Lovett, Tyler Tubman, Kylas Chiato, David Manfredi, Dylan Bren, Pablo Tejedor Myers, William Liu, and Alex Friedman.
We have seen some of these athletes double up from the 2 mile yesterday and today on the mile, having that good rest day to be able to come back in and come fully energized for this race.
Yeah, it does help to have those events split up across 2 days of competition, but 3 days total.
Yeah, I know coming off the 2 mile yesterday, Nathan Lopez didn't come in and win it. We had that unbelievable time of 8:51 by Paul Bergeron yesterday, so I think he is going on a mission to try to win this mile versus coming in second in the 2 mile, which I think is reasonably in his realm of possibility to do. And again, he has that #1 time in the state from that BSR Elite Mile of 4:08. I don't know if we'll see it today with the heat, but definitely I think we would see a good race today.
Yeah, today's a bit of a tough day to run a PR, but could see it. So looking at the clock, doesn't look like they're really going for time. Gonna go through about 66 through the 4.
Yeah, pretty similar to the first 400 of the last heat. Well, that's Nathan Lopez and Jacob Bornstein still in 1-2.
Yeah, so they got to be a little bit careful just to make sure they beat that time from the last heat. Does look like it's picking up a little bit here on the back stretch.
Official time from last heat was 4:21.99 from our winner, Sam Burgess, which definitely has a chance to put him in this finishing spots for these second heat. We'll just have to see how these guys run.
Yeah, it looks like that first lap was a little bit cautious, and now they're starting to make some moves and push it a little bit.
Right. Still a tight pack in that first 5 in the front. But our leader, Nathan Lopez, still taking it through in this second lap. But what was that, about 2:10, 2:11 for that 800? Just about.
Yeah, 2:09, 2:10 at the front line for the 8.
We do see a little bit of a gap now form between our first and second and the rest of the pack, but just a stride or 2 difference between everyone. But Nathan Lopez and I want to say it's Jacob Bornstein are pulling away now from the rest of the pack.
Yeah, Lopez looked like he made a visible move. Definitely a change in cadence there going into the third lap.
Yeah, run a little bit more conservative today in the first 2, kind of leave it all in the back half.
Yeah, he's ripping pretty good now. Yeah, so he just split a 60 on that lap.
Jeez, he was playing a conservative in the first half. Yeah, we're going to see a gap probably form.
Yeah, first 2 laps were about 65s for both of them, and then he dropped down to a 60 on that third lap.
Yeah, it's close to probably a 50-meter lead he has on the rest of the field. We are seeing some changes in our second place, third place, fourth place now.
Yeah, I think Bronstein was in second, and he's about to get overtaken.
Twice now.
Well, he's fighting off that 4th place runner.
Yeah, I saw that third place change and wants to stay on him. But without a doubt, Nathan Lopez is going to be our winner today for the second heat.
Hey, he's going to run an excellent time here.
Yeah.
Maybe about 4:13.
4:13.
4:16, 17, 18.
Yeah, and the rest of the field trickling in now. But overall, pretty good second heat. Our last athlete coming in, though, reminder, it's a very hot day out. So definitely, it's going to be a tough one. But pretty much all of our athletes for the second heat coming in faster than 4:35.
Yeah, so we'll have to see if Sam Burgess from that first heat squeaks into the scoring places. I think it'll be pretty close.
No, yeah, I mean, top three from that first heat, 4:21, 4:25, 4:28. And fourth, not far behind with a 4:28.3. All super impressive times across the board.
He was fucking injured at offense.
But now we have our girls' mile on the track. A little bit ahead of schedule as well. Hopefully get these athletes off this heat and into some cool tents and shade. But overall, seed times for this first heat are ranging from like 5:35 to our fastest seed for this first heat with a 5:18 from Olivia Pignato from Acton Boxborough.
Yeah, this heat should be pretty close.
Similar story to our boys. A lot of the girls who ran at the BSR Elite Mile have a lot of these top place times in the state. Amelia Everett with that 4:47 from that day. But our fastest seed today is Camille Jordan, who does have number 3 in the state with a 4:56. I'm not sure if she'll run that time today. She's seated at 4:57, but again, that heat can play a big factor.
So starting to string out a little bit going into the second lap. Yeah, it's interesting. Everyone's being a little bit careful first lap, it seems.
But yeah, to go off what you were saying, a lot of people playing very conservative today. I think the heat does play a big factor in that, where they don't want to use up all their energy and then be gassed on that second and final lap. But we are seeing probably just a stride or two lead from our top two from the rest of the pack, but nothing that's out of the question of any kind of changes just yet.
Yeah, I think that is the smart move today. It is a little bit risky just with this heat to go out pretty hard because you don't know how you're going to react to it.
But right now in the lead, we have Emily Wedlake from Westford Academy, and not far behind her is Caitlin Chang from Braintree, being 1, 2 through the 8. At about, I want to say, 2:37, 2:38 respectively.
Yeah, so it's a good pace for them.
Yeah, both athletes seeded 5:20 and 5:18, which is pretty much on pace close to their seeding times. But again, we don't know if they're just being conservative or if they're going to go off for these next lap or two, which it looks like they are to a degree with that gap forming a little bit more now. But we are seeing some changes in that back half of the pack from around 3rd and 4th, 5th and 6th, 7th, 8th.
It looks like that's Chang trying to get up on the shoulder. Might go around
She is
here.
making a move here on the straightaway.
She
Getting a good
is.
placement
So
on the bend.
she's going to put herself into first before that corner.
But Wedlake staying on stride by stride with her down this straightaway. we might see a pretty good race-off in this final lap. And there's the bell. About 3:56, 3:57 through for the final lap.
Yeah, you can see Chang really going to the arms there.
Yeah. Really pumping strong to push through that final lap. Not as much of a side-by-side for this final lap that we saw last time. We are seeing a little bit of a gap form, but Wedlake staying on pretty even to her stride.
There's a big move up the backstretch from third.
Yeah, I want to say that it's hard to tell from this far, but we do see a movement with Wedlake pulling back and our current third going now to second. We'll have to see on the straightaway if this very conservative race coming in is going to hold it.
She's going to get her.
Yeah, but that is Olivia Pincano from Acton Boxborough coming out on the stretch on the inside. Ran that race super conservative. She coasted fourth pretty much the entire race and made her move on that final lap.
Runs an excellent time. It was about a 5:10.
Yeah, about close to an 8-second difference from her seed.
Yeah, and even Chang coming in, also 10 seconds slower than what she ran there. That was an excellent race. Very smart race there from Pignato. She was coming in as the #1 seed, and she just kind of cruised it back in like third or fourth for most of the race until, really until like 300 to go.
Yeah,
she made a big move on the backstretch, one lap left, and moved all the way up into first.
Yeah. Before we get our next heat at the girls on, I do want to focus on the results coming in from the boys' mile. Our winner, without a doubt, Nathan Lopez, ran a beautiful 4:13.5, with Brendan Weiler from Waltham not far behind with a 4:16.13, and then third was Christopher Leonard with a 4:17. Sam Burgess, though, did sneak in for sixth with that 4:21, just behind William Liu from Acton Boxborough with a 4:20, and ahead of him, Jacob Bornstein with a 4:18. Very impressive times across the board, though, for that first half. Nothing we're going to see state time changes-wise, especially with that elite mile, but impressive nonetheless, which we'll see a lot of these athletes return for the MIAA Champions next week. We have the second heat now off on the track. This is one that's going to be a very strong race. We do have a girl down, and we have the race coming back now to restart.
Yeah, it looked like they just got tangled up, cutting in to the inside lanes there. We had an athlete go down, so the officials called it back, and we'll have a restart.
Looks like she's a little shooken up right now.
Yeah, they're just checking on her. Looks like she's going to go back to the start line, though.
Yeah, races like that, you really can never tell if the athlete goes down and they're done for the count, or if they're going to have to just have her go back on, which it looks like she is.
Yeah, it looked like that's Kiara Evans of Newton North, seated second in this race, so she's going to hop back on the line. So good to see she's okay and will continue to race.
It looks like we're off again now.
Yeah, a little bit more bumping, but everyone gets through clean there. So
yeah, divisions and states are always one race where a lot of emotions come out, and you want to try to get that good position, especially with a heated race like this.
Yeah, and the mile's not quite long enough that you can kind of chill at the back for a little bit. You really want a good position right from the start. Maybe in the 2 mile you can kind of make your way up as you go, but the mile you really want to be in position, ready to go if somebody makes a move from the front, and you can respond to it.
I mean, some big names in the second heat. Camille Jordan from Brookline, C.R. Evans from New North, Amelia Everett coming in as well at a number 9 seed with a 5'11", as she did run that 4:47 earlier at that elite mile.
Oh, wow.
And then we also have some other big names in there as well. Jordan Liss Riordan, Molly Kiley, Selma Buchanan, all times in athletes who have had unbelievable mile, 2 mile, and 800 successes this season. But I think the biggest name to focus on is Amelia Everett. She won our girls 800 yesterday with a 2:08.27.
Ooh.
I believe that was her.
Yeah, so watch for her with that finishing speed, too. If she's running a 2:08, then you don't really want to leave it down to a kick with her.
We do have 2 athletes returning from the 2 mile yesterday. Jordan Liss Riordan ran a 10:46 and Molly Kiley ran a 10:50, respectively, for 3rd and 4th. Absent is our 2 top 1 and 2 finishers for the 2 mile, Ava Carnity and Ayofi Chauvlin, who both ran 10:34 and 10:40, respectively. But coming down that first straightaway of our, what's that, second lap? That was?
Yes.
We have Camille Jordan and Amelia Everett, 1 and 2, and not far behind them. Missed it, but I believe that was, I want to say that was Jordan Liss Riordan in 3rd as well, but not far behind from the rest of the pack.
So they went through a 2:31.
I mean, coming into this race, I think everyone expected either Amelia Everett or Camille Jordan to take the win in the mile, but it definitely would be a spectacle to watch them battle it out.
At this point, it looks like it should be one of the two as Everett goes up the outside on Jordan, moves into 1st. But yeah, it's just now a question of which one takes the crown today. But Everett with a very strong move there on the backstretch. Big surge puts her in 1st with a slight gap over Camille Jordan. Obviously, if she's run a 4:47, that 2:31 through the 8 should feel somewhat comfortable for her.
I mean, Jordan's staying on pretty pace for pace, even though there's a small, probably 2-meter gap in between.
Yeah, so they split about a 70-71 on that last lap. So that was a big surge. But Jordan's sticking right with her.
I mean, it's something we saw with the 800 yesterday. Camille Jordan staying right on Amelia Everett through that back half of the race, even though they both ran the 8. It's a lot shorter, but Camille Jordan is someone who's not going to go out without a fight.
Yeah, Everett with a bit more of a push now. Looks like that's her kind of second surge here in this race. And now she is putting a bit of distance on Camille Jordan.
Great time as well they're running as well on that, with the conditions of today's heat. Little look over the left shoulder there by Everett to see the lead she has.
Yeah, this will be well under 5.
Final push. Not going for that PR, but still a very impressive time of 4:52, 4:53 from Amelia Everett. Camille Jordan not far behind with that 4:58. It's
Close
impressive when you
finish
have
for
one
third
athlete
there.
go sub-5, but when you have 2 going sub-5 in a race, really impressive.
So congratulations, Amelia Everett. Division 1 mile champion.
And just like that, Amelia Everett is a double state champion with the mile and the 8. But a great job from all of our athletes. You can see as well, the athletes are just crumbling to the ground, both out of exhaustion and out of heat probably. being a big factor and leaving everything on the track.
That's amazing. Everett and Jordan both ran pretty good negative splits on that second half.
Looks like we are having a little bit of an issue with delay of results on the live results. But we'll get you the final times of our top 3 and top 5 finishers from the mile once we get those in. But a little bit ahead of schedule. The next event up is going to be the boys 400-meter race. Nothing really wrong with taking our time, making sure everyone's comfortable, making sure everyone's good to go. Especially on a quick race like the 400 that's done in one snap of the
you want
fingers.
to make sure everyone got their proper warm-up in and had time to do so. Not kind of rush people onto the track. But at the same time, it is good to be efficient. Kind of get through stuff.
We do have our boys 400. He's going out on the track now, kind of figuring out their placement, if they're using blocks, if they're not using blocks. And that's a big question everyone always says. Is there a real advantage with blocks or not doing blocks? I would say so, but some athletes aren't comfortable with the blocks and rather just do a standing or just a complete down start without.
Yeah, I think in the 400, it really depends on how comfortable you are with starting with blocks. Obviously, if you're like a 100, 200 runner and you practice with blocks a lot, then I would say it gives you a decent benefit and you should use them. If you're not as comfortable with blocks, it's probably almost better just to not use them until you get more experience starting with blocks.
Yeah. It does look like we do have one scratch, though, in this 400.
This is the first of 4 heats.
Yeah, this first heat we have Joey McNeil from BC High, we have Justin Briggs from Xavier Brothers, and we have Keyshawn Eviard from Everett for this first heat of the 4. Looks like there's going to be a total of 4 heats, though, overall. It looks like we do have the girls' mile results in, with both Amelia Everett running an impressive 4:52 and Camille Jordan running a 4:58 to go sub 5. And not far behind were Molly Kiley with a 5:03.6, Jordan Liss-Rorden with a 5:03.75, and Ciara Evans with a 5:06.35. But our top 6 overall, all going sub 5:10, is very impressive nonetheless.
Yeah, that was a great race, especially given the conditions today. Like we said, not perfect for running a mile.
Well, that was Justin Briggs who just finished that first heat with a 51 high, it looks like, unofficially. Very close to his seed time at 52.1. It does look like we do have another scratch in the 400 again. I think it might be in part with heat or the relays going on later today, where they don't want athletes risking injury or putting themselves to exhaustion for their open event that they might not focus on mainly. So we do see a lot of multi-event athletes qualify for states, when some will scratch, some will compete in all of them. But it still looks like we do have 7 athletes on the track.
Yeah, especially in the sprints and the mid-distance events where you do have the opportunity to run relays as well. There's a lot of opportunities to do multiple events.
Yeah, I think the relay today will be a pretty good one. Once it cools down a little bit in the air, you'll see a lot of athletes really go out, especially with relays being such a big thing in the state.
Looks like Aiden Key, I believe, in lane 3 made up the stagger pretty well there.
Yeah, we'll see on the straightaway.
going to be pretty even coming onto the straight.
Looks like Mark Kenny DeRock has a slight lead there in lane 7. But it comes down to the leans of who really gets there
Yeah, it's
first.
going to be pretty close on the line there.
One name to mention this next heat is Noah Stagmeyer. He was our winner of our 400 hurdles earlier this weekend, with a time of 55.45 in the 4 hurdles, which is very impressive nonetheless. Let's see how he can do without actually having to jumping around the track this time. Looks like we have a full field, no scratches.
That's a tough double.
Yeah, nonetheless, he's probably in a relay as well. Looks like they're off now.
Looks pretty close here so far. Everyone's almost in a perfect line for the stagger.
I always say these middle heats in the 400 and 800, you always see kind of a pack form.
Yeah, so it looks like Stegmeyer is out front, but he's
And
going to be overtaken.
Brandon Udathach from Lexington taking the slight edge on him, if not by a second or a second or two.
Yeah, it was good strength down the final stretch there
Yeah.
by Udathach.
Number 1 time in the state is 48.17 for a tie between athlete Lucas Mylon from Middlesex School and currently on the track in lane, I want to say that's him in lane 5, Nathaniel Virgo Catala, which he is seated at as well, but we'll have to see if he's able to defend his tied state title or if he'll pull away from our athlete from Middlesex School, who will be competing later today or tomorrow at our Division 5 and Division 4 meets. I always forget which some of the smaller schools like Middlesex, which schools they line up with.
Yeah, this should be a good heat. We have, looks like 5 athletes sub 50.
The 2 I would want to focus on when you're watching this is lane 5 and 6. Both those athletes are pretty close in time and have competed throughout their years together at both Newton North and Haverhill.
Yeah, we also do have in lane 4 Johnny Emmanuel seated at a 47.55.
But still could be anyone's race. And our athletes are off. We'll probably see some of these athletes return for relays, probably a 4x4 later tonight. But as of now, we have a small pack
Yeah, it looks like Emmanuel in lane 4.
pulling away a little bit there.
Yeah, he went out very hard, made up the stagger on the outside lanes.
Yeah, not far behind is Nathaniel from Haverhill. We'll see in this straightaway.
Yeah, so Emmanuel with a lead on the final stretch. Looks like he's going to hold it.
Yeah, without a doubt. Geez, that is going to be close.
Ooh.
High 46 unofficially there.
Yeah, that's going to be really close. See if he broke 47. At least 47 low, looks like.
I would say our top 2 finisher there definitely broke 48, which was our previous state best.
Yes, that was an excellent run. Johnny Emmanuel of Malden winning the 400.
I mean, our current national best is 45.36, and definitely, I think we might see him dip somewhere in the mid to low list there. We have girls 400 now on the track.
Tiger on my left shoulder. It's like kind of crawling down. It has like the tail. It's going to go up my neck a little bit. Maybe a little bit to go over the shirt, but pretty much stay at the collar. And it's going to hit my neck. And then I also want a snake on my leg.
No scratches in this first heat for the girls 4. All 3 athletes who are registered for here are running now.
I'd probably get the tiger first.
As soon as we get the results on the boys 400, we'll update you all. I think that's going to be a quick one.
All right, they just came in. Johnny Emanuel runs a 46.99. So just squeaks under that 47 mark. Then we have Nathaniel Vigo Catala. Dips under 48 with a 47.82 for second. Quincy Scott, 48.87. Miles Scott, 48.96. Neil Chowdhury, 49.05. Brandon Udathach, 49.21. Stegmeyer, 49.51. And Reyna, 49.78.
Wow, 46.99 on that one. That's definitely going to give him a new state best time there for this season.
That was Lila Anapoli of Newton North winning that heat. That was around a 62.
A cool little tidbit I do want to share is normally per year, around 126,000 athletes do run the 400 meters for outdoor track, and that time of 46.99 just placed him in number 30 in the nation for
Wow.
placement. Out of roughly, I want to say 126,000. It's always different each year, but that's just based on a Pewter research stat from 2019.
Yeah, just to give you an idea of how impressive that time is.
And compare it to all the athletes across the state. I think he definitely will do some damage at the national meet if he goes this summer. Next year, the girls are on the track now.
Looks like Sydney Weiss, I believe, will have the lead coming out of the turn.
It's going to be close, though. Anna, from what you said, neck and neck with her. But it looks like Cindy Weiss is pulling ahead just by a hair for that finish.
Looks like the track's running pretty fast today in the 400. So we saw those boys' times, and then the first heat of the girls was won in 61.46, almost 2 seconds faster than the seed time.
I always want to remind people as well, if you want to see live results, Go to athletic.net under the live category. And if you want to see interviews with today's winners, both on guys and girls from field and track events, BayStateRunning.com on YouTube and Instagram will be having posted live interviews with all of our athletes. Our 400 winner, Johnny Emanuel, being interviewed right now after his great time and placement on the national leaderboard.
Right, Heat 3, we have O'Leary of Taunton, Michalowski of Shrewsbury, Corcoran of Haverhill, McGillicuddy of North Quincy, Riley of Haverhill, Vinith of Westford Academy, Mesher of Newton North, and Toma of Andover. It looks like Toma with a decent lead on the outside there, but the stagger is going to help everyone catch up to her. She maintains the lead into the straightaway. See if anybody can catch her.
We have a close neck-and-neck race between
Is that
4 and
McGillicuddy?
8. Yeah.
Yeah, McGillicuddy up the middle with a late surge and takes that one.
Not far behind with Toma from Andover. Final heat, though. One person I do want to focus on, lane 4, Kylie Bernard. She currently holds the #1 time in the state for the 400 with a 56.1. But overall, to focus a little bit on heat 4 of this race, we have Sullivan from Acton Boxborough in lane 1, Bruno from Franklin in lane 2, Geary from Lowell in lane 3, as I mentioned earlier, Bernard in lane 4, from Ridge and Ladden, Giwa from Wachusett in lane 5, Richard from Weymouth in lane 6, Hennessy from Westford Academy in lane 7, and Frawley from Newton South in lane 8.
Yeah, so like you said, Bernard with a 56.17. I just want to point out the New Balance Nationals qualifying time is 56.04. So she is right on the cusp of that.
Which you can see right away. She's making those moves right into the first 100 of that race.
Yeah, she made up the stagger on those outside lanes in 200. So she's going to come onto the straightaway well in the lead.
Looks about to be a 40 flat through the 2.
Gonna be Giwa behind her.
But this is Kylie Bernard's race, without a doubt.
And that should be in the 55s.
That's a 55 high, without a doubt. We'll have to see officially what it is. But you said 56.04 is national qualifier.
Yep.
I think her definitely qualified.
Yeah, she should get that.
It's a nice little PR as well.
Yeah, it's a good day for 400s. Had excellent times in the girls and boys races.
I think that time will definitely dip her somewhere into the national leaderboard, without a doubt. Our current national leader is 51.45 from Texas.
Man.
Usually you see a lot more of those southern and western states produce a lot better sprinters and hurdlers. But without a doubt, Massachusetts still holding its own. But setting up on the track right now is the hurdle crew for our 110 and 100 hurdle finalists.
All right, so the 400 results just popped up. We have Kylie Bernard running a 55.70. So excellent time for her, winning the Division I Girls 400 meter championship.
Wow.
Giwa in second with a 56.87. Mia Sullivan 58.87. Abby Hennessy 59.24. Gracie Richard 59.29. Emily Frawley 59.29. Bridget Geary 1 minute .05, and Maddie McGillicuddy 1 minute .34.
Wow, what a day for the 400. I think that'll be a new number 1 and 2 for the state for our top 2 finishers here today.
This is even more impressive than she did there. She won 220%. That's in finals. In prelims, she ran a 25.46, and then she ran 20%.
It does seem like conditions are prime for the 400, nice and warm. Not really a single breeze. So nice and consistent all the way around. And so we had new state leads in the boys and girls 400.
Believe they're setting up for the 110 hurdles at the moment.
Yeah, this should be a pretty good race. The entire heat is only separated by 4/10 based off their prelim times. We have Christoph Osselman Chai in lane 4 with a 15.00. But not far behind him, we have Yin of Lowell with a 15.03. Bai of Lexington also with a 15.03. And Gerfen of Lexington with a 15.06.
The one thing I do want to mention today is our current number 1 time in the state being 14:51 for the 110 hurdles, which we'll have to see if anyone gets close to today. I don't think we have any athletes here today who are in the top 5, but it looks like, I want to say, Jaden Bai is going to be the closest with that 15.03 officially. But Christoph Oleman Chai with that beautiful 15 flat sitting there as well. Can definitely sneak in there. Just being on the edge of jumping into that sub range.
Yeah, this should be an excellent race with all those names that we mentioned being so close together.
I mean, the only difference between the number 1 seed and the number 8 seed is 0.41 seconds, so it's not going to be, I think, any margin for error today.
Yeah, and our top 4 only separated by 0.06 of a second.
Wow.
So we got a good view of them just doing their last preparations, practicing that first hurdle, and coming out of the blocks, making sure they're ready to go.
Yeah, these athletes have spent probably a majority of indoor, if they didn't indoor, and a good chunk of outdoor, perfecting that start in the blocks, because that can really make or break your entire race, especially for something so short like the 110 hurdles.
Yeah, everything really needs to be perfect in this. You know, you need a good start, good reaction to the gun, and then, you know, the form over the hurdles, the steps in between the hurdles really needs to stay together as long as possible. Sometimes we see that kind of break down the last few hurdles, and and that really makes or breaks your race. If you lose precious time in those last few hurdles, if your steps are a little bit off.
And without a doubt, I was at Rhode Island the past few days from Monday through Wednesday, watching their freshman championship meet, working down there, and seeing the difference between them and these seniors now who've had 4 years to perfect their forms. It's just night and day.
All right, so it's going to be Yin out in front.
I think that's going to be Yin to take the win, though, unofficially. Yeah, a little bit of a stronger lead on the lane. We'll see officially the results once they come in.
Yeah, he ran that race perfectly. Got out really well. Had the lead pretty close to the start. And just kept it super consistent, super smooth all the way through.
I mean, for the girls, without a doubt, I want to focus on is Sarah Dumas. She had unbelievable times both today and yesterday during the Pent 100-meter hurdles. She ran a 14.89 at the Pent, and then today in the qualifiers ran a 14.81. And she is our number 2 in the state with a 14.78 current best, but she's tied with Aliyah Cheyenne from Tabor for that 14.78, which is definitely, I think, in the realm of her getting that PR today. She's seated at that 14.81, but not far behind her is Kieran George from Newton North with a 14.94 seed, and the rest of our athletes trickling in around that low 15, mid 15, high 15 range, with our slowest time being a 15.72 on the seed.
Yeah, so we can see them in 4 and 5. The 2 athletes under 15 seconds. Dumas in the blue and white on the right of your screen. Kieran George in the orange on the left. We're just waiting for the last of the hurdles to be moved and set to the correct height.
Yeah, like I said, they don't have a sprinting crew. They don't have sprinters, so that's probably a big recruiter right there. You get interviewed.
The one thing I do want to mention is that short turnaround from our 100-meter finals later on to our boys and girls 4x1. There's only probably a 20-25 minute grace period between when the finals go off and when the relays start. So definitely we'll have to see how athletes perform during the relays after they qualify and run in the finals.
Yeah, we could have some of those athletes also doing the 4x4.
True. Very true. Not as often do you see athletes who do run that 4x1, or not 4x1, run that shorter distance of 100 meters and go in the 4x4, but you always have athletes who are those jack of all trades on their teams that can do anything from like 100 to pole vault to long jump to shot put. We saw a lot of those athletes perform yesterday at the pentathlon.
Yeah, and then the problem is they get thrown in everything though, so.
Oh yeah.
A little tired by the end of the weekend.
Yeah. It comes down to meets like this. They qualify in so many events that they have to choose what events they want to do, or will give their team either the best chance of winning the title of state champion team or get them the best PR to qualify for meets later on, like the Meet of Champions, New England's, or All States, or Nationals. But we do have the girls down on their blocks now for the girls 100-meter hurdles. Starter gun is up. And they're off.
All right, so it is Dumas and George out front. Dumas with the slight edge and extending it over the last few hurdles. So she'll take it. Sarah Dumas of Franklin.
Our results did come in from our boys 110 hurdles though. Kai Yin from Lowell winning with that 14.88. Not far behind was Christoph Osselman Chai with that 15.01, and then Michael Greffin from Lexington with 15.09. Not quite beating out for that, I believe, what was I said the previous state best was?
This is 14.5, I thought.
Yeah, I can double check on that real quick. Yeah, 14.51. So, just not getting there just yet, but we might see that change around either on Division 2 tomorrow or some meets later on in the season. But still a great time by him and the rest of the field.
All right, so we're pulling the hurdles off the track now for the finals of the boys and girls 100 meter.
While they finish clearing off the track, looks like we have our girls 100 meter para wheelchair athletes getting ready to go. Two athletes on the track, Haley Carroll from Weymouth and Mary McDonald from Taunton. And they're off.
It's like Carol in front. Trying to build up speed. You can see her kind of adjusting the front wheel to stay in that lane.
With that, looks to be a 26 high, 27 low unofficially for Carroll. It's always great to see athletes not being stopped by any kind of handicap.
And McDonald in second, going well under her seed time. We do have the girls 100 meter hurdles results. So Sarah Dumas of Franklin officially runs a 14:59. Kieran George 14:73. Ashley Sheldon 15:15. Brooklyn Huggins 15:55. Amandine Mangan 15:55. Anna Maria Mbuyu 15:60. Brittany Ojijor 15:85 and Ella Chandaria 15:89. So Dumas and George both going well under 15.
And both Dumas and George having the new number 1 and 2 in the state with their times respectively. Dumas just going up and holding her first and breaking that tie, but Kieran George sneaking in for that second spot. But again, these times will always change, especially when we get into meets like the MIAA Champions and New England Internationals. It's these such high caliber level meets where it's the best of the best across either your state, your region, or the nation.
Yeah, you get good competition to push you, and it's also just that time of the year where you're kind of peaking and doing your best performances. So that's typically where you see all the top times change pretty quickly.
No, yeah, especially for multi-sport athletes who are going from fall sports to winter sports to spring sports. If it is cross-country, indoor, outdoor for our distant runners, or maybe football, track for some of our sprinters and hurdlers. But these athletes are going non-stop from when school starts in the fall to this time of year.
We were given commands, and then one of our athletes asked for a reset. I think something was wrong with his blocks. But the official came over and gave him the green card, so he is good to go for the restart. Yeah, it looked like something just wasn't quite right with his setup, and so he just wanted to readjust. Which obviously you are allowed to ask the official to do if there is a problem.
Yeah, especially for races like the 100, you want to make sure your blocks are perfectly in condition, get you the best start possible. We'll see if that change pays off.
All right.
I think that was Darwin again from Methuen.
No, I think that's lane 5 is Muir.
Was that Muir? I think it was close. Definitely always great to see the athletes high-fiving and hugging afterwards. Always great to see that sportsmanship.
Yeah, I mean, they compete with each other all season long. A lot of times are pretty friendly with each other and want to see each other do well as themselves.
No, yeah.
So we'll have to get official results on that one.
No matter what it was going to be a quick finish there. No matter who won the race. While we do wait on the results, it looks like the girls are warming up on the blocks, getting some starts in, getting some sprint outs just to get everything fine-tuned before the race starts. But while we wait on results from the boys' race, I'll let you know who's in what lane for the girls. In lane 1, we have Barboza Lind from Acton Boxborough, Santana from Wachusett in lane 2, Quorum in lane 3 from Methuen, Desamaris from Framingham in lane 4, Conte from Andover in lane 5, Jolly from Newton South in lane 6, Gallivan from Newton North in lane 7, and Cadet from Durfee in lane 8. And they're off. Looks like Desamaris is pulling ahead a bit. And looks like she'll take it as well.
All right, boys 100 results. You're correct. It was Jimenez of Methuen. Sorry about that. Beating out Muir of Newton North, 10-6-1 to 10-8-4.
Wow.
Leonid Burlak, 10.95. Chris McDonough, 11.04. Demetrius Shiarian, 11.12. Evan Imisogi, 11.13. Emmanuel Mahoney, 11.16. And Donnell Harvey, 12.02.
One thing to focus on as well is that time of 10.61 gets us a new state best for the season. Just inching out, just like the race, pushing Moore down a second from his number 1 spot of 10.62.
Oh, wow.
But
Super
definitely,
close.
I think we'll see both those athletes back for the MIAA Champions next week. And you'll see that rivalry continue as it has been this entire season.
All right, next up on the track is the 4x800. We have 2 heats of the 4x8. Heat 1 will be Wachusett, Franklin, Xaverian Brothers, Attleboro, Haverhill, Needham, Weymouth, Framingham, Methuen, Brockton, St. John's, and Braintree. So Wachusett with the #1 seed in this heat with an 8:38. Franklin not too far behind with an 8:39 though. So those should be the top 2 times. Or it depends on who they decide to put in this relay, as sometimes the athletes can differ from who was on the squad when they ran the seed time, and depends on what events people are running during this weekend. Results of the girls 100, we have Abby Damaris 12:24 to Lauren Quarms 12:44, JJ Conta 12:53, Naya Santana 12:87, Ellie Jolly 12:89, Shakira Cadet 12:90, Sawyer Gallivan 12:99, and Sophia Barboza Lind 13:17.
Yeah, 4x8s are one of those relays that has such a mixture of different athletes. You could have athletes from the 2 mile dropping down. You could have athletes from the 400 jumping up. You have your 800 athletes just sitting there as they usually do. But
feeling very confident
pretty
as
much
this is actually their event.
yeah, it's something you always see too of the year going through the season of the coaches trying to find that best lineup to make them qualify for states.
Yeah, you got to mix people around and find not only the people that fit, but also the order.
Exactly.
Because there is a bit of strategy in terms of where you put the runners in terms of order. So you have 4 teams outside on the stagger. So they will cut in on the back stretch, I believe.
But the update you find, folks, on the results from the field events, we do have a couple results coming in. Boys high jump winner Kimara Latney from Springfield Central jumping 6'4" today for a first place finish. And then over on the shot put side of things, we have Alan Zhang from Lexington throwing 53.10.5.
Wow.
I heard them behind us up in the press box when he threw. He got the crowd over there loud, to say the least. As of now, and then on the girls' side of things, for long jump and jav, girls' long jump winner Anna Marie Mubuyu from Lowell jumped 18:01 to get a first place finish there. And then for girls' jav, Elizabeth Hopkins from Franklin threw 131 feet even, a whopping distance ahead of her second place finish that threw 126 from Pearl Kalungi from Lowell. Aside from that, we still have boys jav going on, boys long jump, girls shot put, and girls high jump going on right now on the tracks.
Yeah, we can see girls high jump in the background of the screen right now, getting up there pretty high. Saw Newton North athlete with a miss, I believe.
Yeah, it looks like it's at 5 feet right now.
Yeah, so it should be thinning out the athletes.
A little bit of banter going on the track right now between athletes. A little chit chat while they're waiting to get everything set up and ready to go. Something that's just you always see athletes do to calm the nerves. Just a little chit chat, a little shake out the leg, little jumps, little thing to get them ready to go. Especially when you're their first leg here. you really have to go off strong to get that good positioning.
Yeah, that's the worst feeling, just waiting on the line.
No, yeah.
As soon as the gun goes off, it's fine. But just sitting there waiting gets people pretty nervous.
Guns up, though, for the starter. They're up to the line, and they're off.
All right, so Wachusett actually gets cut off a little bit there. Gets spit out the back of that group.
We'll see through the break how it goes for these athletes. A little zipper action of athletes just filing in gaps from the outer banks and the front.
It seems like everyone's filtered into lane 1 mostly.
Couple people on the edge making some moves on the risky bend, hopefully get good positioning for a better move on the straightaway here. But looks like right now we have Haverhill in first. Not far behind is Xavier Brothers and St. John's, I believe. Is that St. John's? No, that's not St. John's.
We have a few moves there. A couple of people almost tripping as they cut into lane 1. Be a little bit careful on this first leg when everyone are pretty close together. Just because you do get tangled up with people sometimes. And as the legs go on, typically things spread out a little bit, so it's not as much of an issue.
But looks like around the bend, back into the straightaway, we have Xavier Brothers pushing ahead for the first set. Not far behind is Framingham, and then some other moves coming in from Methuen and St. John's, and across the board, everyone's trying to get into their handoff pretty well.
It's going to be 201, 202 for that lead-off split.
But quite a lead away goes Andover.
Yeah, interesting. We see Wachusett with the number 1 seed in this heat. They handed off in last, actually, and kind of got caught up in the traffic of everyone who had already handed off and was trying to find their way onto the inside of the track. We'll see if they can make their way back up into the field. So Xavier Brothers well out in front here.
I say, yeah, it is Xavier Brothers.
We're through 59.60 on that 400.
It'll be interesting to see if they loaded up the first 2 athletes for this race for Xavier Brothers to try to get that good lead, or if they have some athletes in the back. Because I have yet to see from Xavier Brothers Brady Armstrong run yet, I believe. He did have a 9:52 2-mile earlier this weekend, which definitely can translate well into an 800.
Yeah,
But
it is interesting to see the strategy play out, because that could be the case where they just try to get a big lead early and hold it. Some teams preferring to put their faster athletes towards the end and make up ground.
Yeah, but without a doubt, this next set of handoffs, Xavier Brothers have controlled this race and made it their own.
Got a good battle for second here, though.
Yeah. Yeah. A little jumble mess there at the handoff from the back few teams here and there.
Yeah, this field is actually still pretty close together through 2 legs. So it does get a little bit messy at the handoff. But yeah, brothers with still a decent lead here. And then a
Yeah.
very large pack
For second, third, fourth, fifth.
chasing them down.
I would think that it would have been like Xavier Brothers just missed the cutoff for that faster heat and they just got bumped down, but they were seated at an 8:43.5. 2 teams ahead of them, with the lowest and slowest team in that second heat, 8:38. So I think they just came in with a strong plan and executed it very well so far. We'll have to see. We are seeing a little bit of movement of Haverhill into second place. Franklin sitting around there as well. Same with Braintree, same with what you said.
Yeah, I mean, they're running well under their seed time right now. They're on pace right now for probably about an 8:20.
I do want to talk. Braintree came in with a seed time of 9:24, and currently they're battling out for second place right now. Something we may have had like a late blossom of an athlete really go off during the league champs. But definitely looks like whatever lineup their coach put in is paying off.
Yeah, it could also just be they never really got a good 4x8 together.
True. Very true.
This is their first opportunity to really show what they have.
Yeah.
But that lead is not really changing.
We'll focus a little bit on the back half, though, of Braintree, Haverhill, and Methuen going 3, 2, and 4th. But the rest of the pack is trailing in, with Braintree not far behind as well. But this is one to see if some gooder athletes in the back there will be able to pass up and get our leaders from Xavier Brothers. Because we are seeing a little bit of a race-off there between Haverhill and Methuen, with Haverhill making a move on that far lane.
Yeah, this is going to be a pretty fast heat, though. Everyone's running well under their seed times.
No, yeah. 6:58, 6:59 right now, with Xavier Brothers coming through the 2.
Yeah, we could see sub 8:20 for the leader.
Probably a 50-meter lead he has on the rest of the pack. But since the start of this race, Xavier Brothers have held this race and made it their own. They really haven't had any contact since that first lap at the very beginning of the race.
Yeah, as you can see on the screen, they've got half a straightaway over the chase pack. Ooh, and an attempt at a pass up the inside for second. Didn't really work. Now he goes around the outside. I think that probably is the better idea.
Yeah, passing from the inside is a very dangerous move, but a risky one if you do it successfully. But focusing on the finish, well within that 8:25 range.
So they're going to run 8:21 unofficially. Yeah, so we're still under our top seed time here. Right there is about where our top seed would have been had they run the seed times. So that was a pretty fast heat. Everyone well outperforming what they were entered on paper.
But the star of the show, Xavier Brothers, took that race and ran away with it, figuratively and literally. We'll have to see what the official time is on them as well, to see if they were able to peek into that faster heat as well, or see if they're just going to be the winners for today's Heat 1.
Yeah, I think they could be close to the back end of the points. If few people in the fast heat don't run quite their seed times, but judging by that first heat, it looks like we're just going to completely ignore our seed times today and run way faster.
Oh, yeah. It looks like we're getting heat number 2 onto the track.
So this is the final heat. Seated first, we have Brookline, then St. John's Prep, Acton Boxborough, Newton North, BC High, Lexington, Shrewsbury, Lowell, Westford Academy, Cambridge Ridge and Latin, Andover, and Newton South.
I mean, looking at the list of who we have in these teams, there's some very powerhouse runners in here. We got Loveland from St. John's Prep, who ran our mile earlier today, and I believe was a 4:25 for his time. And star of the weekend, I would say without a doubt, Paul Bergeron of Westford Academy in here as well, who ran an 8:51, 8:82 mile on Thursday. So it's something we'll be able to see if he's able to dip down from his usual 2-mile range and see if he can get a good 800 in.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye out for him. I imagine probably on the anchor leg.
Most likely. But they're off. Here we go.
Pretty clean on the start.
Yeah, we're filing in pretty evenly. Another person I want to talk about in this race, probably in the last leg as well from St. John's Prep, is Nathan Lopez, our mile winner. I think him and Bergeron will probably be 2 stars. I think we'll have a good race between them in this final leg of the race, if it's close between Westford Academy and St. John's Prep. But still, we have 3 athletes to get through before we focus on them.
So pretty close together through this first lap.
Yeah, Lowell, Lexington, and St. John's Prep pretty close as well. A little bit of a move on the outside edge there.
That's Brookline, I believe, moving up.
Correct, Brookline. I mean, they're battling to try to go sub 8. They have a seed time of 8:17 for their seed time. I think St. John's Prep and Acton Boxborough as well are trying to battle for that sub 8, both with 8:01 and 8:02 respectively. But as of now, it's just between Brockton and Lowell in this first leg.
Sub 8, obviously, very impressive as your whole team is averaging a sub 2 minute 800.
But yeah, back and forth our 2 leaders go from Lowell and you said that was hard to tell with the angle. I believe that was going to be Brookline, you said, right? You are.
Yes. Yeah, Brookline in the white there. Really fighting.
Yeah.
They're going stride for stride over this entire last 200.
St. John's, Lexington, and New North aren't far behind.
Yeah, so it looked like
Andover as well.
Brookline's just going to hand off in first. Lowell chasing them down.
But still, it's Braintree and Lowell, yeah. New North made a little bit of a move there into third ahead of St. John's Prep. New North is one of those teams that have historically been very well in relays. They always have a deep team, a large school they all come from. So you always have athletes showing up to find that right blend and order for their races. So I wouldn't count them out yet. I think you might see some magic from them later. But as of now, it's still Brookline and Lowell going at it.
Yeah, Lowell looks just like they're sitting right on the shoulder there. Not going to make a move on this straightaway. We'll see if they try anything on the backstretch. And then I believe that's Newton North trying to chase them down.
Yeah, St. John's Prep not far behind as well.
All right, so Brookline pulling away a little bit on the backstretch there.
Yeah, but But once these athletes get back to our side of the track where all the fans are, it's going to get loud, and it's really going to motivate them.
Yeah, it looks like Newton North and St. John's are actually catching those top two. See how they finish here. They might hand off.
Lowell slowing down a little bit.
Up front.
I said Newton North, don't count them out, but St. John's Prep as well, trying to get into that good positioning. A little bit of change on the lineup for the athletes receiving the baton and mixing around to make sure everyone's getting that perfect lineup in order. We have a handoff at 356.5.
Yeah, so Brookline, then St. John's, then Newton North, then Lowell. So all those teams look like they're still well under 8-minute pace.
Yeah, I mean.
All right, now we have St. John's third leg going right around Brookline.
Lowell, looks like Lexington made a little bit of a move ahead of Andover to get into that 5th position. And Lexington kind of closing as well, but Lowell's going back into it. Their second athlete had a little bit of a struggle on that handoff, it looked like. But Lowell has some time to check back up. But St. John's Prep just taking the lead there. Pretty cemented top 5 at the moment. St. John's Prep in first, Brookline second. Lowell trying to get close to Brookline and make a move. A little bit of change between Lexington and Newton North there at the lap counter. And Andover not far behind. Yes. Andover I do want to talk about. Came in with a seed time of 8:38, which they're very well ahead of at the moment.
That's a nice group of 4 there. Lowell, Brookline, Lexington, and Newton North. Newton North goes up the inside on Lexington.
Winning the inside, going the outside. He's dipping around like a DNA.
Yeah, he's weaving. So now on the outside of Brookline.
And making the move now. Looks to be kind of settled back in between Lowell and Brookline on the bend. It's risky to make a move on the bend. You want to kind of conserve your energy there and use it for that final push to the final
Yeah, he's
leg.
actually going to get up on the shoulder here and kind of slingshot off the turn. See if he can close it all at St. John's. But St. John's running a really strong third leg here.
And about to go off to their workhorse of their team, Nathan Lopez, as well.
Yeah, I can't imagine anybody will catch him. So yeah, a few of those top teams with a pretty good shot at going sub-8. Second, you can see Newton North and Brookline. Brookline going around the outside in the back stretch.
One team I'm not seeing out there, I think they might have scratched, was Westford Academy. I haven't really seen them on the track, so they might be conservating more for the 4x4 later on tonight. But yeah, still St. John Prep's race right now. Not far behind is Brookline and Newton North. Got Lowell coming up in 4th, and not far behind is Lexington and Andover. But our top 6 teams all coming in through 7:01 respectively.
Ooh, we could get a pass here in the back stretch. It's like Newton North closing up a little bit on Brookline. Might have to wait until after the corner. Looks like he thought about it for a second, then tucked back in for the turn. Try to get that momentum.
Yeah, looks like he went into the outside lane for this straightaway push. But right now, it's St. John's Prep's race. But coming down to the straightaway, without a doubt, sub-8.
Excellent time.
Yeah, we have an unofficial time of 7:50. Then
That's super fast.
7:54 for Newton North, 7:56 for Brookline. Not far behind. Are they going to make it? It's going to be close for Lowell and Lexington if they're going to go sub-8. I think it's going to be very close for them. But
wow, very fast times here today.
Yeah, I mean, Andover coming up from that seed time of 8:38 to 8 flat. Lexington from 8:11 to close to 8 flat as well. Same with Lowell, 8:17. But without a doubt today, a great turnout from all teams. We had a bunch of teams go sub 8 in the race. But it's time to bring on the girls' race now for the 4x8. So we only have one heat of the girls 4x8 today, with teams including Cambridge Ridge and Ladin, Brookline, Newton South, Andover, Haverhill, Weymouth, Framingham, Acton Boxborough, Newton North, Lexington, Lowell, Franklin, Methuen, and Braintree, for 14 teams on the track.
Yes, we have 5 teams seated under 10 minutes.
It's just not very fun themselves.
I mean, one team which I think will make a really strong move is Newton South. Millie Everett, been probably arguably one of the best athletes to come out of outdoor this season. Been having an unbelievable weekend at States as well, with a 4:52.8 in the mile and a 2:08.2 in the 800. Without a doubt, it's definitely going to probably be their last leg for that team.
Yeah, that's a pretty big boost to have someone like that anchoring for you. Ooh. Little bump in. Trying to filter into that first lane, but everyone makes it clean. So Lowell actually going up to the front from the outside lanes there.
Before we get too in-depth in this girls' race, I do want to look at the results from the boys 4x8. With St. John's Prep with an unbelievable time of 7:49.97, making that sub 7:50 mark. Not far behind was Newton North with a 7:54.42, and Brookline with a 7:55.85 for that mission to go sub 8. I've been hearing through the team earlier this day. But those were our 3 teams that went sub 8. Not far behind were Lowell with an 8 flat .18 in the milliseconds, and Lexington with an 8 flat .43 in the milliseconds. Then Andover with an 8:01. Coming from an 8:38 seed time to an 8:01 is very impressive, being able to make that team work very well and find that perfect mixture of athletes. But overall, our top 11 finishers, all from Heat 2, all ran sub 8:20, which is very good on a day like today with the hot temperatures.
We got a pretty good battle in the girls 4x8. Looks like there's 6 teams in that front pack.
Yeah, it looks like it's Cambridge Ridge and Ladin, and I want to say that is Acton Boxborough. That's going to be, I believe, is that Brookline front there? No. That's definitely Ridge and Ladin in the second place there. First place looks...
I believe that's Brookline.
Is that Brookline?
Yep. With the number 2 hip.
Yeah. But great handoff from both teams as well. I was curious just to look to see what the best 4x8 time this season so far in the nation was, and that's a 7:36.4 from a team in Minnesota. But overall, anything really sub 8 is an unbelievable time at the high school level.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that's averaging sub 2 minutes for all 4 legs, which is really incredible. Because just to have one person running sub 2 is pretty impressive.
Not far behind from our two leaders, a small pack of Newton South, and I believe that was Andover, and I want to say that was also Weymouth in that small pack in third, fourth, fifth. But still our two leaders in the front there, Ringe and Ladden and Brookline.
It looks like that second pack is kind of catching them a little bit, though.
Yeah, being able to work off each other like that.
Yeah, we saw that in the boys' race where there was kind of a pack all racing each other, and they moved up to the leaders who didn't really have anybody to key off of.
But just like that, though, we have a team catching our second place and first place leaders. Yeah, that's Weymouth now taking the lead. Ringe and Ladden making the move as well, and Northern South making a move around.
Yeah, they had a good response. Ringe and Ladden got past there, then moved back up into second. And then Newton South also with a strong finish on that final stretch.
And Brookline's not going down without a fight, staying right on Newton South side on the outer edge of the lane. But Ringe and Ladden pulling ahead again, first. A little movement now. Ringe Line still in first, but it looks like Brookline sneaking back into second place, just ahead of Weymouth. Pretty cemented 1, 2, 3, 4 going through the finish line. But Brookline is gaining on Ringe and Ladden, which looks like they're about to make a move on that first bend there. And there we go. Brookline now into first place.
Yeah, very strong move there. And she's still going.
Had a little setback before the handoff down on the second athlete, but we're able to respond very nicely into a good gap that's forming now. And with that, our next set of athletes and our final legs are lined up for their handoffs. Pretty good lead by Andover from Brookline ahead of Ringe and Ladden. But Weymouth not so far behind. Same with Andover, same with Lexington. Newton South a little bit far ahead from the leader, but we do again have Amelia Everett right there who could probably, I want to say, have the talents to be able to catch up to our leaders.
Yeah, I think she'll pick off a few people. The lead might be a little bit too much for her. It's close to 100 meters at this point. But we'll see what she can do.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that pack just ahead of her, I think, is definitely in the range of possibility. But she has fully, like you said, 100 meters behind our leaders of Brookline. But Brookline coming up on the bell lap.
Yeah, very strong showing from them.
High 8:10 through the bell lap, with Ringe and Ladden not far behind. But the pack of Lexington and Andover, and not far behind Weymouth, and Amelia Everett as well. I want to say Brookline's win is cemented now, but that pack of Lexington and Andover are sneaking up on Ringe and Ladin for a second, and possibly could dip into that first if they get into the right positioning.
Yeah, so Newton South has moved themselves up into 5th. Yeah, I think Ringe and Latin might be in a little danger here.
But without a doubt, Brookline took advantage of this race from the second athlete through the third and through the fourth for a beautiful 9:23 unofficial. Ringe and Ladin is probably just going to inch out Lexington to keep that second place, with Lexington in third, Andover in fourth, and Newton South coming in with that 5th place finish, with Weymouth not far behind in 6th.
Yeah, excellent times there. With, I think, 5 teams going under the number 1 seed.
And 6th being pretty close as well. Rest of the teams coming in now: Newton North, BC High, Franklin.
So yeah, we continue to see some excellent performances today.
Our last place finisher, Franklin, as well, with a nice 15-second difference from their seed time. As well with Methuen and Braintree, who are coming across the line, who are both respectively seated at the 11:01 mark and 11:15.
Yeah, so even
Without
them
a
going
doubt.
way under.
Yeah.
That's tough if you run so much faster in your seed time, but so does everyone else. So.
But on the track now, with the 4x8 finished up, we have the 4x1 making their way onto the blocks. 3 heats of this race. For the first heat, we have Braintree in lane 1, Lawrence in lane 2, Cambridge Ridge and Ladin in lane 3, Brookline in lane 4, Waltham in lane 5, Lowell in lane 6, and Weymouth in lane 7. It's always interesting to see teams that have such different uniforms between their guys and girls teams.
Yeah, that always throws me off.
Yeah. Girls have a solid, I believe it was the maroon on the top, maroon on the bottom. Where the boys do have the maroon bottom, but they have the yellow and maroon checkered top. Very similar was Woburn's during yesterday's meet. The girls had a pretty kind of gradient of orange and black, where the boys had black shorts and zebra stripes horizontally of black and orange on the front and white and orange on the back.
I think Brookline, too, there in lane 4 has all white for the boys' tops, but their girls' tops were navy on the girls' side.
Yeah, teams have such like a unique color scheme as well, especially when a lot of teams in Massachusetts have that black and orange and or red, white, and blue color scheme. You really have to find a unique style for your athletes from the coach's perspective to make it look good, but also be different enough from other teams. Exactly. But we have our times from a girls 4x8 now, with the official timing of, for Brookline, 9:23.38, Cambridge Ridge and Ladin with a 9:28.94, Lexington with a 9:29.8, Andover with a 9:32, and Newton South with a 9:34 for the top 5 finishers. But yeah, our top 5 teams finishing all came in ahead of the fastest seed time today, which was a 9:35. 4x1s always go by pretty quick with it only being one lap on the outdoor track. What it really comes down to versus your movement on the track and like a 4x4 or 4x8 is that handoff inside the zone. These athletes have been practicing their handoffs all day today on the field and probably all season on the track at their own schools.
Yeah,
so it definitely comes down to it.
It's such an important thing in 4x1s, just because the margin for error is so low.
Yeah, and you'll see as well the difference of the actual handoff. Whereas your 4x4 and 4x8 and up relays, usually you just kind of do that stutter style step from the line and kind of catch it and switch. With the way the sprinters do it for the 4x1 and 4x2, it's a precision marking where they go ahead, get the hand back, place it in, and go. But it looks like Lowell in the lead right now, just based off the handoff at the 200-meter mark.
I think we lost somebody there. I believe that was Lawrence. Their first leg handed off to their third leg.
Ooh. Never fun when you come around the bend expecting to see someone there and they're just not.
Yeah, they didn't quite make the first handoff zone, so the first runner just kept going and handed off to the third.
I believe, was that Lowell that took that one? It was close between three teams. Between Waltham, Lowell, and Brookline, I believe. All had very close positionings.
It was Waltham in lane 5. That's a little hard to see from our angle up here, but
for Heat 2, we'll go over what teams are on the track. We have St. John's in lane 1, North Quincy in lane 2, Attleboro in lane 3, New Bedford in lane 4, Andover in lane 5, Franklin in lane 6, Framingham in lane 7, and Shrewsbury in lane 8. Looks like the results came in from that first heat, and you were correct. Waltham with a 43-5 with the win. With Cambridge Ridge and Ladin not far behind, really not far behind with a 43.67, and Brookline with a 43.7. And our Lawrence team, shout out to the athlete that ran a full 200 meters.
yeah, I'm surprised they're actually still classified here. Didn't really think that was legal, but
I mean, at that point, I think the officials were just kind of like, you guys were already put in a bad position
right,
going
yeah.
into your 300, 200 marks. But we'll just give you that time. Which is still pretty impressive, 47-2. But Heat 2 is off now.
Let's see the handoffs here. Pretty smooth.
Yeah, luckily everyone had their second legs there this time around. A little stutter from St. John's there, but nothing too crazy. And we're in the final handoff here, folks.
It's going to be pretty even here. Who's that? Franklin?
Nope, Franklin was in lane.
So Andover.
Yeah, it looked like it was Andover who took it. And they had a seat time of 44-1, so they definitely were going out on a mission. But we're now on to the next heat of Heat 3. We have 8 teams as well in here. We have in lane 1, Taunton. Lane 2, Methuen. Lane 3 is Lexington. Lane 4, St. John's Prep. Lane 5, Acton Boxborough. Lane 6 is Newton North. Lane 7 is Brockton. And Lane 8 is Springfield Central. Best time so far today has been Waltham with a 43.5. We'll have to see if Heat 2 is able to sneak in.
That's a lot of names we've seen in the sprints today in this race. We have Jimenez for Methuen, Bai of Lexington, Osman Chai and Burlak of Acton Boxborough, Muir of Newton North, all names that we saw in, I believe, the final of the 100. So
Yeah, and as a 200 on Thursday as well, a lot of returners. But results are in for the Heat 2. Andover with a 43.13 and Framingham with a 43.43 beat out our former leaders of Waltham, but Franklin not far behind with a 43.7 for our top 3 finishers from the second heat. This is our final heat today for the boys 100. We should make it a pretty quick one, I would say. Looks like we do have a scratch of Newton North missing from their lane in this race.
So we're ahead by a lot because the first heat of 4x1 was supposed to go at 6:30. This is the last heat at 6:22.
it looks like we still have some yellow flags in one of the zones.
Zone 3 over there, looks
which is
like.
the reason for the hold-up.
Yeah, we have the official with the flag from Zone 3 coming down to speak with the head official's tent to kind of figure out what's going on. Hopefully it's nothing too serious.
Oh, now we got the white flag. Not sure actually what the problem was.
Whatever it was, it probably wasn't anything important. The head official's table kind of just sent away that official from lane 3.
Alright, so we do have commands now.
Runners are set, and they're off. Final heat of the day for the boys, 4x1. A little bit of a stutter step there by St. John's and barely just made it outside of the handoff zone.
Not too bad on the second handoff.
But St. John's with the lead here today, folks, with Lexington not far behind. Methuen inching ahead of Acton Boxborough for third.
Oh, they might have pulled out second there.
Yeah, well, depends on the lean in the camera.
So that was Jimenez anchoring for them, and you could see his speed there.
Even with Menendez making a really good push for that second, it was still St. John's race. But while we wait on the result timing for those guys, let's take a look at the girls for their first heat. Looks like we have a full race today. No, I don't see anyone that's not scratched. But we have 7 teams on the track. We have, in lane 1, we have Lawrence Lane 2, we have Weymouth. Lane 3, Newton South. Lane 4, Methuen. Lane 5, Springfield Central. Lane 6, Lynn English. And Lane 7, Braintree. Lynn English hasn't really had many athletes compete today, or on Thursday, but still a really good seed time of 53-2. Running middle of the range pack across this first heat.
All right, so the boys 4x1 results are in. St. John's winning that 41-92. Lexington did hold off Methuen 42-21 to 42-24. Acton Boxborough 42-6-0. Andover 43-13. Brockton 43-7. Framingham 43-43. Waltham 43-53.
Pretty good. I mean, Lexington, like we saw, and you probably saw on the screen as well, they have that lean a little bit more forward. It's something that always comes down to in photo finishes like that. Whoever has that chest more forward gets that better finish. And it looks like Lexington just had that small lean, which paid off in the end of keeping them in that second place. But they're off for Heat 1 for the girls. There'll be 3 heats of this race, 2 more after what's going on right now, and then we'll be off to the 4x4s.
Yeah, they gave the second place time.
Pretty good handoffs across for that first leg, the second leg.
Still not. I mean, actually, no one else expected. I mean, like, I also just, like, based everything off of the ball together all the time. I love that real quick.
Looks like it's going to be pretty even coming out of the turn between a few teams here. Ooh.
That was close.
Rough handoff out front.
Which really didn't pay off for them. But Methuen pulling ahead, who had a beautiful handoff.
Yeah, I believe that's Quorum of Methuen powering them into the lead.
Yeah, Springfield Central had a little bit of a hiccup on that third
Yeah,
and final leg.
it wasn't the smoothest handoff. They still had the lead coming out of it, though, but Quorum just went flying down the straightaway.
Yeah, they made it just inside the zone by an inch. Could have been a really bad DQ there if they did it outside, but luckily they were able to make it and get a good time finish for that second place. But on the track now is Heat 2 of the 4x1. 8 teams on there. We're starting with North Quincy in lane 1, Needham in lane 2, Brockton in lane 3, Acton Boxborough in lane 4, Franklin in lane 5, Shrewsbury in lane 6, Brookline in lane 7, and Taunton up in lane 8. Three white flags across the board, so
Yeah, but,
no real issue like we saw last heat in the boys, but
and yeah, but what about, like, that's 5 to the 4 and 8 or whatever, but sprints that are only using at the track, 1 and 2, are you going down or are you going up? Either way, it's, yeah. Unless it goes down and up in each 100 seconds.
and heat 2 is off, ladies and gentlemen.
Pretty even on the stagger. Pretty smooth handoffs as
Yeah,
well.
nothing really too crazy out of the blue.
Yeah, that's
Everything clean through the second handoff.
Yeah. Coming into the third handoff now. A little hiccup from AB there, but they're still have that lead ahead of Methuen and Franklin.
I remember freshman year thinking that he was
But Acton Boxborough took that race away in that final handoff.
Oh, really? Yeah, usually you would stick with those.
But for this final heat, we have two teams that are sub 50 seeded. Well, Framingham and Newton North both seated at 49.1 from Framingham and 49.4 respectively from Newton North. But to focus a little bit more on the other teams, we have Lexington in lane 1, Andover in lane 2, Lowell in lane 3, Framingham in lane 4, Newton North in lane 5, Westford Academy in lane 6, Wachusett in lane 7, and Haverhill in lane 8.
Yeah, we can see Framingham with Damaris, who won the 100-meter, as well as Newton North with Kieran George, who was second in the 100-meter hurdles. So those two giving a boost to their teams, being the number 1 and 2 seed.
It's the third and final heat as well for the 100-meter relays. Looks like commands are being called now for the athletes. Athletes are set as well. And they're off. Final heat of the day for the girls 4x1. Pretty smooth across the board for that first handoff there.
Oh, Walpole just bumped up to 8.
Looks like Newton North gets the stick first.
Yeah.
And they are in the lead.
Andover and Methuen, or Wachusett not far behind actually.
Yeah, so Newton North winning that. Followed by Wachusett, it looked like.
Results for Heat 2 did come in though, with Acton Boxborough running an unbelievable 49.93 to go sub 50 in their heat.
Wow.
Needham and Franklin not far behind with 50.35 and 50.66, and Brookline as well in that high 50s range of 50.98.
It'll be interesting to see where that puts them compared to the final heat.
But that 49.93 is
It should be
the
right up
best
there.
time of the day so far. We'll have to see. I think Newton North might be able to inch ahead of that. But boys 4x4 now getting on the track. Kind of a combination with starts for both two of these other relays, where athletes will stay in lane for the first lap and be able to hand off in the lane for the second, and then they can go through a breaking point of merge. But for Heat 1 of this relay, we have Brockton in lane 1, Methuen in lane 2, Framingham in lane 3, Haverhill in lane 4, North Quincy in lane 5, BC High in lane 6, and Braintree in lane 7.
Yeah, so it looks like we are doing a 3-turn stagger.
Are we doing 3 turn on this one?
Looks
We are.
like it. So they will cut in after the first turn of the second leg. We have results for girls pole vault. Lily Brown winning with a height of 10.6 over Katie Atkins with also a height of 10.6, with Lily Brown winning based on she made her first jump at 10.6, whereas Katie made her third jump at 10.6, so that broke the tie.
As well as results coming in our girls high jump. Ashley Sheldon of Andover, jumping a height of 5'6", over Audrey Smagula from Westford Academy, who jumped 5 flat, which looked, I want to say, there's a good amount of ties for second place for 5 flat. But Ashley from Andover just pulling away with that 5'6". Still in progress is girls shot put, boys long jump, boys jav. Even though we're coming to the end of the actual events on the oval, field is still going on. Looks like we have pretty much everyone aside from Haverhill opting in for blocks for the start. It's always going to really tell who's maybe has more of a sprinting background, who has more of a distance background when it comes to 4x4.
Yeah, obviously if you're dropping down from, say, the 800, probably not going to use blocks in this.
And they're off, though.
But it's always also a good idea to probably put a strong 400 runner on the opening leg as well. So
Oh, yeah.
could be why you see most of these athletes using blocks on this opening leg.
Yeah, normally you see either a strong or a mid kind of 400 runner in the first one. Usually your weaker leg in the second leg, in the third and fourth, as the better runners to catch up if you do, unfortunately, if you do have a lead to catch. But coming down through, looks like it's Braintree with a good lead.
Yeah, we do still have one more turn, so a little bit hard to tell, but
Yeah.
see when they hand off. Pretty even when they
Yeah.
receive the baton, although not a great handoff there. I looked for BC High, I believe.
Yeah. A little bit of struggle there, but we are getting to our breaking point now of the merging.
So you can see the cones there right after the turn. That is where they can cut into lane 1, and the
Yeah.
rest of the race will be run in lane 1.
Methuen picked it up a little bit to get into a nice little second spot there. Put a little gas in his jets. It looks like Methuen's making another move on the outside bend of that far bend. Just ahead of, I want to say that was Braintree in the white sleeves there, yeah. But coming into the handoffs, it's a sprint up between Methuen and Braintree.
Yeah, Braintree with a late surge there.
Yeah, BC High in third. North Quincy, Haverhill, Framingham, and Brockton taking up the rear there.
Really hard move early here from BC High. They're catching up to second place here. And they're going to move up into second place.
Yeah, North Quincy not far behind as well. Coming up as well on third place, going possibly.
Yeah, they might move
second.
themselves into second.
Yeah, looks like he settled in a little bit for that bend and hoping to use more energy on that final straightaway. But yeah, Methuen keeping this lead.
North Quincy, though, moves up into second.
Yeah, same with BC High. We have a little bit of last-minute movement possibly from Braintree, coming in a pretty even handoff between the two teams.
Yeah, so BC High actually was in the lead, but their handoff is a little bit slower. So they're bumped back down. Although now they move back up again. A lot of movement there.
One thing I did catch was Haverhill putting in their strongest 400-meter runner in that first leg there, hoping to try to get a lead on the rest of the action, but doesn't look like it paid out with Haverhill sitting right now in, I want to say that is sixth place. Fifth place currently. And Methuen still has the lead here, just ahead of North Quincy, but don't count him out yet. It's gonna. Looks like it's gonna be Methuen for the finish.
That's an excellent time.
Yeah. High 330s for all our top finishers for the first three teams. Methuen, North Quincy, and BC High for 1, 2, 3. With that first heat is done, and on to heat number 2 of 3.
Yeah, we are seeing everybody just smash their seed times today.
Yeah, I think a lot of athletes who were here are only for the relays. They did either their 200 maybe yesterday or didn't run a 400 and just keep them fresh for the relay. But let's focus a little bit on the athletes now on the track. Wachusett in lane 1, Andover in lane 2, St. John's Prep in lane 3, Attleboro in lane 4, Brookline in lane 5, Revere in lane 6, Westford Academy in lane 7, and Lowell in lane 8. Revere does have 2 athletes that ran 51 low today for the 400. That's something that could be a really good chance for them to make some movement, being seated at 332 and having that chance of going sub 330.
I think a lot of times that helps mentally too, just having a good race earlier that day, and now you're going into the relay with a little bit of confidence, knowing you can run a certain time.
Having that high of coming off either a good PR, a good win, a good race overall can really make or break in this case, make a relay go well. Yeah, it looks like all but one athlete again opting in for blocks. With Attleboro probably choosing not to, with him again probably being someone who bumped down from the 8 or the mile. Or just not preferring and not being comfortable with the blocks. Results from girls shot put has come in though, with that event finishing up. Ronnie Jones of Lowell thrown 41.09 just to inch out Sky Pierre Cameron from Newton North with a 41.07.5 for second, and Lee DeForge from Franklin with 39.02.25. Just throwing a little love to our shot putters before this race went off.
Looks like St. John's moving up in lane 3. So yeah, I think factoring in the stagger, St. John's be pretty close to the lead here.
Maybe Brookline as well.
Yeah, so as you can see with that turn, St. John's moves up into first.
Methuen not far as well behind.
Now they hit the cut in and move into lane 1.
A little bit of a move, I want to say that was not Wachusett. Someone Westford Academy, it looks like maybe made a move. Nope, that's them in the back. That's what, and in second place. That's St. John's, and then we have
looks like Revere.
No, Brookline in there, and that's probably that could be Revere, possibly. A little bit of a issue for some of the back group of athletes, with athletes for the first few legs not getting off the track. So they kind of had to go wide on the turn there. But St. John's Prep just has a lead on this.
Like they might be getting caught a little bit here.
Possibly. You might be right. I think that's... Yeah, that's Attleboro who made it into first place.
Yeah, that was a huge leg from them. They started this leg in 4th, I believe.
Yeah.
Moved all the way up into the lead.
But going in with the armband on the right arm up there is Attleboro, St. John's Prep, Brookline, Revere. We are seeing a move by Brookline now into second place on that bend, not the bend, on the straightaway over there. Both of our second and third place catching our leaders from Andover.
Yeah, St. John's going to hold them off.
Yeah. Making a move, too, on that bend, so they're neck and neck. Probably a three-way sprint off. We're getting into the straightaway. Here we are. We have what could be a great finish by Attleboro and a close second from St. John's Prep, just holding off Brookline.
Yeah, once again, a few teams into the 320s, having nobody seated in the 320s. So
yeah. Great move by Attleboro on that second leg earlier.
Yeah, that really made it for them. Because they moved all the way up from, I think, 4th into the lead on that leg.
Yeah.
And handed off with a decent gap and held it on that final leg.
Not sure if that was just like a blowout athlete performance or if coach had that plan from the start. But if it either or, congratulations to both of them for making that great finish there. Hopefully, is a well-earned PR for the group. But focusing on that third and final heat of the boys 4x4, we have Needham in lane 1, St. John's in lane 2, Xavier and Brothers in lane 3, Newton North in lane 4, Acton Boxborough in lane 5, Lexington in lane 6, Franklin in lane 7, and all the way up in lane 8 is Springfield Central.
Yeah, so Newton North coming in here with the number 1 seed time by about 3 seconds. So they should be the heavy favorites, but based on the last couple heats, everyone's really outperforming their seed time, so it doesn't necessarily mean too much. So we should have a good battle.
Again, a lot of teams in this heat have multiple athletes who went sub 50 today. Both Lexington and Acton Boxborough have 2 athletes that did. So they may be the teams to watch.
It does look like Acton Boxborough is making up the stagger on the outside teams.
Yeah. Newton North as well, and not far behind.
Yeah, it looks like Acton Boxborough probably going to be in the lead with the stagger.
Lexington is starting off with one of their stronger runners as well. But coming in, it's definitely between Lexington and Acton Boxborough on the bend.
And then Newton North in 3rd.
Wouldn't stay for too long, though. A little bit of movement from what looks to be Xavier Brothers and Franklin. But yeah, AB coming into that next handoff. Lexington not far behind. Newton North right there on Lexington. Needham, Xavier Brothers, St. John's, Franklin, and Springfield Central as well.
New North is in fourth though, with 59.
Coming into that third leg now. Actors Boxborough ahead with Newton North and Lexington battling it out for second. Which we'll probably see a move very soon by Newton North.
Yeah, so they're going to pass Lexington.
And probably, I want to say...
Yeah, they're definitely catching St. John's. Or Acton Boxborough, sorry, out in front.
Yeah. Lexington as well, not letting him go down without a fight on that earlier pass. All three teams coming in neck and neck down the straightaway. Lexington a stride behind. But Newton North with a lead now coming into the final handoff. All pretty even. Now we have a sprint off, folks. Newton North, Newton North, Acton Boxborough, and Lexington. 1, 2, 3, but Newton North a little gap ahead. But Attleboro and Lexington staying on right behind.
So is that Needham coming up on him too?
Yeah, need him up over the forward just behind the bend. Not too far behind. But I think it's going to be between one of our top three runners at the moment. Newton North holding off staying on for the win. Yeah, I mean, great races by all three teams for that lead pack, but Newton North taking the win with close to possibly sub 320.
Yeah, I think they might have dipped under there.
There might be a millisecond different or a millisecond over.
So we'll have to wait for the official results. See if they made it under 320. But
Very
some
impressive
super
if they
fast
did.
races. All right, so we do have 3 heats as well of the girls. First heat, only 3 teams in it. Brockton, Attleboro, and Newton South.
I mean, as of right now, before these final heat of boys times come in, Attleboro is our leader right now with a 326.3, which is definitely going to be beaten from our Newton North team. And just like that, Newton North running a 320.92 and Acton Boxborough running a 320.86, both barely making it sub 320. Unfortunately, something we might see them do over at the MIAA Champions next week. But Lexington right behind them with 321.42 as well. But overall today, that's 10 teams that went sub 330 in the 4x4, which is impressive nonetheless. But with the girls' heats now on the track for the 4x4, looks like we have 3 teams, Brockton, Attleboro, and Newton South in lanes 3, 4, and 5. But for boys races, what a way to finish off Division 1 with that relay.
Looks like a pretty even start.
Yeah, nothing really too crazy yet.
It looks like they're going to hand off just about even.
They missed it by 2 points. That sucks.
Little late surge here from Attleboro. Put them in the lead.
Oh yeah, that's how it was. Actually, we obviously
Now Newton South moves up into second.
I remember many of these, especially at Bryant, we used to be sitting in the bus for like 30 minutes. And all they still throw down. An hour later we leave.
And now Brockton fighting back into second place.
Attleboro with that strong lead, though, on
You'll probably still be fine.
both other athletes going into the handoff.
Honestly, I will. I actually changed my mind. So, like, for a while, it's been worth it to just go to the line. Yeah, because they serve it better. But now,
Little trip up by Newton South there, but nothing too crazy. 1, 2, 3 still staying the same, with gaps now formed between the athletes.
it's only like 10 extra minutes.
All right, we have Brockton catching a little bit here. They're going to overtake Newton South for the lead. No, Attleboro.
Attleboro looking to make a little bit of a move on the bend going into the first straightaway. Getting into a prime position for hopefully we're going to see some action there, which we are going to see with Attleboro taking back their lead they had.
Yeah, we've had quite a few flips of this lead.
They had a killer day yesterday, so. Let's look at this spreadsheet, dude. Where? Oh, 15 point. Oh, yeah. Oh, there's multiple people. That's what it is. Yeah, 238.
We're going to have another one. Brockton going around the outside.
For that final straightaway push, Brockton getting to the front there.
Great finish from them.
This is what happened yesterday. So everything
Unofficially a 422 mid
filed
from
for
Brockton.
Dash and Hurdle finals. Yeah, Florida, yeah.
What a great race by all three teams. But with that Heat 1 done, Heat 2 is on the track.
Both boys shot, girls long jump, girls jab. Oh, got both jab, both long jump, both high jump.
Only 6 teams in this race. Lane 2 is Wachusett. Lane 3 is Weymouth. Lane 4 is Lowell. Lane 5, Westford Academy. Lane 6 is Taunton. And Lane 7 is Newton North.
Yeah, that's true, yeah, for sure.
And here we go for lane and heat number 2.
I don't know how they haven't had it yet. They already have.
I think Lowell making up
Didn't really move there.
stagger on Heat 5, Westford Academy.
Andover is winning this one, too.
Looks like Weymouth as well with a good leg.
Coming down the straightaway now. Still have one more bend to go, but it's pretty even, I would say, between Lowell, Weymouth, and Taunton.
Yeah, I think Weymouth should be in the lead now. They're going to hand off right about even,
Yeah.
maybe slightly ahead, but they also have still one more turn. So that's going to benefit them, and they should make it to the turn in first.
I mean, don't count out Lowell. Lowell's right there as well.
Yeah, so they're actually going to make it to the turn first. I like that, Lowell, with a nice smooth transition from the outside lanes into lane 1.
Saw that. She was staying in lane 3, or lane 4 rather, all the way till probably just before the bend. But I see a little bit of movement in the back group there. Lowell taking it away for first into the next set of handoffs. And not far behind is Westford Academy and Weymouth battling it out.
So yeah, that was a big leg for Lowell.
And not much to announce on. Lowell's just keeping this lead long and wide. Not far behind, though, are the rest of our teams. Probably only maybe, I want to say, close to a 30-40 meter lead. Westford Academy and Weymouth going second and third, respectively. Newton North making a push now in that final stretch. Kind of hand off even with Taunton.
Lowell is really just dominating this race. We'll see if they run a time that gets them up into the scoring places.
Not on screen, but Taunton making an unbelievable push from 6th up to 4th now, into 3rd, and possibly now into 2nd.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to move into 2nd here.
Yeah, without a doubt, Lowell took this race and ran away with it completely. But we're going to get a little bit of action from Taunton and Westford Academy now. They're neck and neck coming down the straightaway. It's on screen now. Taunton's inching a bit ahead of Westford Academy. Get a nice second place finish from 6th to 7th. From 6th to 2nd in less than probably 200 meters.
All right, final heat going out onto the track.
Yeah, lane 1 we have Lexington. Lane 2 we have Haverhill. Lane 3 we have Cambridge, Ridge, and Ladin. Lane 4 we have Franklin. Lane 5 we got Needham. Lane 6 Brookline. Lane 7 Braintree, and Lane 8 Shrewsbury. This is the final and last heat of the day on the track for oval events. Should be a really good one. Camille Jordan looks proud to be anchoring Brookline. As well with Kylie Bernard over in Cambridge, Ridge, and Ladin, possibly backing as well for their heat. So definitely some powerhouse runners that we have in this final heat. Should make it very interesting if it comes down to any kind of sprint off like we saw for 2nd and 3rd place of last heat. Again, to check out all results from today and the live results for races in shot put and field events that are still happening now, you can always head over to athletic.net into the live category and just search for the MIAA D1 Championship outdoor track meet, and that would be able to filter through today and tomorrow's day 2 events.
Yeah, like the last 2 days, discus and long jump, have been so bad. Yeah, because it was only long.
I got some early movement here. It looks like Needham should be up front.
Yeah, good positioning across the board.
Yeah, it's going to be Needham and looks like Braintree fighting for
Yeah.
it.
Not far behind is, I want to say that's Shrewsbury right there as well.
Actually, the great late surge there is Franklin. So that actually might put them in the lead coming off the corner.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to have a pretty close group through the break.
Yeah, everyone's right together. Wow. So they hit the break right there. They're all going to slide
Ooh,
over.
We have someone down. Looks to be... Is that Lexington that went down?
That's what happens. There was
Yeah.
a lot of athletes still right together at that break. Everyone cut in.
No, it looks to be Braintree that went down. Fortunately for them. But we have Franklin in first, Needham right there in second, and a bunch of teams coming up right behind.
Yeah, it's going to be Brookline third. Then Lexington, I think.
No, that's Brookline in third, and then not Haverhill. Yes, that's Haverhill in fourth. Lexington in fifth. But still pretty close overall across the board.
Like that was the last thing. Yeah, that was the last thing.
A little bit of movement from Brookline on the bend there, going just ahead of Needham to get into a nice second place. And Brookline as well, again, trying to battle out for the first spot ahead of Franklin. Methuen coming up on the left, on the inside as well.
Yeah, good leg from Brookline there. Puts them in first at the handoff.
And off to the final leg with right to a good position for Camille Jordan.
Yeah, that's a good person to hand off to.
Oh yeah, but look at Kylie Bernard coming up on the back end as well, just passing people. We have Needham now taking back the first spot just ahead of Camille Jordan and Brookline. But Kylie Bernard just did a great move from 6th to 3rd.
Yeah, obviously she won the Open 400 earlier, so she's a huge boost to her team.
Yeah.
See if she can catch anybody else.
I don't think she's going to catch our leaders, but we're going to have a nice little race off here between Needham and Brookline there. But Needham sneaking ahead, getting that first.
I think that's Alex Bold anchoring for Needham,
Yeah.
holding off Camille Jordan.
What a finish, too, by Braintree as well with that earlier fall. But with that race, folks, that finishes up all of the oval events on the track today for Day 2 of Division 1 State Championships. As a reminder, all results can be found at athletic.net under the live category. We still have a couple field events going on, nothing really too crazy, but we'll get you the official time in a couple seconds of that 4x4 finish. But while we wait, we'll give you some results from the boys' Jav. with Easton Cross throwing a 172.07 to win that for his team. Chris Thompson throwing a 167.05 for second, and Otis Nash coming in at third with 165.06. Aside from that, looks like boys long jump has finished up as well, and results should be getting to us soon. Just gotta enter them. And as a reminder, our top two teams with the most points earned will earn the titles of state champion team and state runner-up team in Massachusetts for Division 1.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, nothing's on there.
All right, so official results for the girls 4x4. We have Needham with a time of 4:01.47, Brookline 4:01.80, Cambridge Ridge and Latin 4:03.14, Franklin 4:05.16, Lexington 4:05.70, Lowell 4:05.91, Haverhill 4:06.60, Shrewsbury 4:10.93.
Yeah, I stood up and I was like, good lord. I know my legs are jelly from leg day yesterday, actually. Do less than you think, feels like. That's like my biggest mistake. Did I did legs yesterday after, 2 days of like the landscaping in the morning, doing this at night. I was running on like 6 hours of sleep, and I did the whole day landscaping, full day here after the lack of sleep the night before. Still got enough calories, enough water. I went to the gym.
But overall, for day 2, we had some unbelievable performances across the board, both on the guys and girls side.
Dude, I was doing like
Yeah, this is a great day. We saw some really fast times, a lot of PRs.
50%.
So overall, just an excellent day of track and field.
Second set is 6 reps at 75%.
Yeah, so that wraps things up
Sets are 8 reps under 6 hours.
for day 2 of the MIAA Division 1 Outdoor Track and Field Championships. This broadcast has been brought to you by Bay State Running, powered by Marathon Sports, and this meet brought to you by Hoka.
Feeling when you like squat too much like first time in a while. I like raise
So don't forget to tune in to our live stream tomorrow. We'll be streaming day 2 of Division 2. So I believe same events.
Same events. Me was just spread out instead of having all the athletes in the same day, being here from 9 a.m. to like 7 p.m. They split it up to give the athletes some good recovery time, and hopefully, especially with the extreme heat we're going to be getting this back half of the weekend of Memorial Day, do you want any injuries of any athletes or whatsoever.
Yeah, so tune in to that broadcast tomorrow. We'll be starting right around 4 o'clock for Division 2. And then that will wrap up the MIA Divisional Championships.
yeah, like maybe a throw or something. That's
Thanks for tuning in. I'm Adam. I'm joined in by Davio. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one.